Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural edition of the Dynamics 365 Community Call, CRM edition. I am your host today, Charles Straighton. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Can we get a New Year's cheer, all? New Year's cheer?
Woohoo! Welcome. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026.
Yes. Welcome to 2026, everybody. Speaking of 2026, I hope everybody had a nice break. Angeliki, did you have a good break?
It was wonderful. And it's really exciting to see everyone back here for 2026. We've been running this for a while, so it's just wonderful to see everyone again.
Great, great. So what you do during your break there, Angeliki?
Spend it with family, which is the most important thing.
Yes, yes. Family is very, very important. I spend a lot of time with family as well. So I'm glad you had a good break. All right, I'm going to share my screen and give me just a second here. All right, can everyone see my screen? Yep, all right, great. So welcome again to the first edition of Call. It's a couple of things, especially since this is the first call of the year and maybe a number of new people on here. We will be recording this call. We encourage you to be social, so use any emojis, reactions, anything you like. Feel free to use the chat capabilities as well. And remember, this is your call, so don't think of this as just all one-way traffic. We're not just going to talk at you. We want this to be as interactive as possible. This is a community, and like any good community, we spend a lot of time interacting with each other, having some fun, chatting, doing our thing. We want this to make this fun. We want to make this as fun and interactive as possible. So today's topics. I am really excited about this one. Dynamics 365 Field Service is one of those technologies that I think, in my opinion, is underappreciated. It's something that I spent a lot of time working with back when I was at the Microsoft Technology Center as an architect. We had a lot of requests coming in for Dynamics 365 Field Service. I was part of the IoT team that was building connectors to various IoT type technologies. We did some really cool demos that were there. And I got a chance to get to know Dan a bit. So I am really excited to introduce Dan. Dan is like the man when it comes to D365 Field Service. And I'm sure he has a lot of things to share that are really exciting for you. So I'm very excited about Field Service in particular, and I hope you are too. And then after that, we have Mike Hartley, and he will be powering up accessibility and changing the digital landscape. So if you'd like to engage with us, pull out your phone, and here's a QR code. Or if you don't want to use the phone, just use the Linktree address here, Linktree/Dynamics 365 Community. All right, Angeliki, I believe you have some community-led events that are happening.
Oh, yes, there is tons happening. The season has started again. So we're starting off strong. Just in a few days, we have the Regional Dynamics Con meeting in Florida. It's a free meetup. You got the link there. So if you happen to be around, I definitely recommend that. Then one of our lovely events, Collab Days, this time in Bremen, Germany, later in the month, another free event. And what I love about Collab is that it brings all the different technology stacks together. So there's not just BizApps, but you also see all sorts of collaboration colleagues from the M365 world. So another one to keep out an eye for if you happen to be around. Then we go at the end of the month all the way to Tallinn, Estonia. So Cloud Technology Town Hall is a paid event, but it's a massive event bringing again all those technologies together. And I'm quite confident that we have a few of the speakers from that in this call today. So another one to keep an eye out for. Then we move on to February, and February is going to be a fun month because there's a few editions of the Global Power Platform Bootcamp. For example, the Polish edition, there's also the Zurich edition. These are essentially online events that people can join in virtually for free, and it brings so many speakers and technologies from around the world together. And finally, we want to round it off in March with the Canadian Power Platform Summit, another great event, this time in Vancouver, Canada. So if you happen to be around there, beautiful city as well, and a great event.
Okay, so without further ado, Dan, you are on.
Awesome. Let me present out, wait for it to pop up, and we'll get going. So thank you for the warm intro. I think it's my first time in this forum presenting, so I'm really excited to tap into this awesome community. And with that, I got about 20 minutes with a lot of content, so I'm just going to get going on it. But for those who I don't know, my name is Dan Gittler. I lead the field service product. And with that, today we're going to talk about everything that's coming around the corner. So before we go into like the future and all the details of it, I just wanted to pause and just, I don't expect everyone to read this. We've been very, very busy delivering a lot of value. This is just like a subset of capabilities we put out there over the last couple of years. And one of the things that's really exciting is very hot off the press. We every 2 years, IDC goes through a ranking of the different field service products along with other quadrants. And we are officially named a leader. We're all the way to the top in terms of capabilities, and we're really excited to get this result. And it's a byproduct of all the work we did, but also all of our customers. And I know that there's a lot of interviews and validation. So I thank everybody on the call for being a part of this and helping us get to this ranking. And so with that, I always like to start out with our mission. It's really been the same since I've been doing this, which is basically since I'm born. It's manage, schedule, and perform. It's managing work. It's managing resources. It's making sure the right technician gets the job assigned at the right time with the right equipment, and then giving the frontline worker or technician the tools to do the job. What we're seeing, though, is an acceleration of this pattern with AI at the center of it, and I look forward to talking to you more about that a little bit later on in this presentation. Before we jump into our AI investments, though, I do want to focus on what our priorities are and go through a couple of the non-agentic areas as a starting point. So we have 4 core priorities. One, always fundamental, stay secure, always dedicating capacity to this and making sure it's performance, secure, our right to innovate. The second is our core product evolution, followed by our agentic work and our scheduling operations agent. And so we're going to start out focusing on our core product evolution and talk about what's coming over the next 6 to 12 months. And so back to that pattern of manage, schedule, perform. Within that manage bucket, about a little inside Microsoft, about a year ago, we actually got reorganized into the AI ERP or organizationally. Product, technology, everything stays the same. But the vision for this was that with every single field service deployment, there is a need to integrate with an ERP. There's no exceptions to that, right? Some of them might be the Microsoft. It could be, and of course, it could be third-party ERPs as well, which is very, very common. But what we're doing with this is we're really focusing on making sure it's an end-to-end offering, including the back-end pieces on the ERP side. And so we released recently a couple of different integrations. One of them is with Business Central, which makes it so that now when you kick off field service and you want to just integrate with Business Central, it's plug and play. And the other was our first stab at the finance and operations integration. What we're doing now, and this is going to be released in the next 3 weeks, our first version of this, is we're going further with our F&O integration. And so what we're doing is we're actually unifying our integration back to F&O, but we're using the project operations construct for that integration. So what this is going to enable everyone to do is you'll be able to link a work order to a project. That'll allow all of my transactions to be on a respective project, which makes it a lot easier to track all the financials from a given long-running project, but also use that to integrate back to F&O. So with that, I have about a 1-minute video just to show you what's coming in a couple of weeks, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into it. And is the audio coming through?
Yep. Did we lose everything?
All right, I can't hear the audio, but it looks like the video's done. So hopefully that gives a good idea of it. So taking a little bit of a double click on it. In essence, within the field service side, you create work orders, you complete it. All of that flows back through project operations. And even if you're using not F&O for the ERP, if you're using an SAP or you're using Oracle, that in of itself makes it a lot easier to integrate, but also gives you one holistic financial container to leverage. And of course, if you're integrated with F&O, that'll flow back. There's a couple other like sub bullets that are worth calling out, which might not be apparent in the video. And these are for specifically if you're integrating with F&O. All the estimated parts before the job is done and the estimated labor, that will all synchronize. And so that means that you can use the master planning capabilities in F&O to do all your forecasting for parts and labor. Offline will be supported, serialized inventory batch, and the financial alignment, whether or not you have F&O, as I mentioned before. So this is phase one. This is coming in about 3 weeks' time. So it'll go straight to GA. So we look forward to hearing your feedback on it. This is just the beginning of it, though. We're already working on our phase two. So everything we've talked about is sort of after the fact. How do we get it all connected up? But we're also going to be bringing in the planning capabilities together with project operations and field service. And this opens up a lot of scenarios in complex service. So if I'm doing a large installation, or think of oil and gas, utilities, right, where I stand up these projects that could last days, weeks, months, or even years, you'll be able to have the in the work breakdown structure, you can have a combination of tasks that are done by people behind a desk. So it might just be getting blueprints, filing permits. But then as part of it as well, I need to send out a technician to do an inspection or do the actual work. And so the planning side of this is going to come together as well to offer really, really robust, complex service scenario for field service organizations. With this is a cornerstone, a building block. And what we're also building up to is we're focusing on the scenario on asset as a service. We're seeing this more and more. So just like with technology, we went from buying a perpetual license and then optional maintenance. You pay whatever it was, 18% per year. And there was a shift over to SaaS. This is happening a lot with large equipment as well. So you could see this across a bunch of different industries where organizations are shifting their business model. They're the ones that are owning the asset, but instead of selling it, they're actually leasing it out to customers. And so what I showed you before about connecting the F&O with field service, that's a key part of it. Because if they own the asset, they have to track depreciation, capitalization, but provide service. But in order to hit this asset as a service scenario, we're doing more as well. So another item that we're doing is we're beefing up our maintenance planning capabilities. So we're going to be able to do usage-based maintenance very, very shortly, so that instead of doing it on a calendar basis, which is monthly or quarterly, you'll actually be able to establish, and you can send in the signals through IoT or maybe just through visual inspection and entering it. So the classic scenario everyone can relate to is a car. I might get the oil change when it's 10,000, when it's been 10,000 miles or 3 months. So the trigger, which can come from usage, is something that we're going to be adding as well, along with a bunch of other asset-centric capabilities. So this is another area we're very excited about and beefing up our maintenance planning capabilities here. And then just for those who might have not seen at Microsoft Convergence just about, I think in November, we announced that there will be an overall rental management offering. And this is going to be combining a bunch of different products. Field service is serving as the service and maintenance portion of it. But all of these capabilities you saw that I just explained is also building up to Microsoft offering a comprehensive rental solution to the market. So I know that's a lot of information. I'll go ahead and I'll check the chat afterwards. But this covers the manage portion of what we're delivering. So moving on to the scheduling portion of it, most of the investments here you're going to see later in the, because we have a dedicated scheduling operations agent section in this presentation. But I just wanted to call out that recently we did release a new schedule board. It was it's seamless, so it's not like an opt-in. You'll just your customers will see a faster, newer experience. But also we're kind of focusing a lot on paper cuts. So you could see things that customers have asked for, such as making it customizing the days that I can see within the board, or easier to kind of share schedule boards. So we recently released a bunch of these usability enhancements within the board that customers should already see. Performance is also key. So you're going to see 60% faster when you're creating a booking, 50% faster when I'm just searching for availability with the schedule assistant, and 30% when you just open up the board for the first time. So we're going to continue to focus heavily on performance within the board as well. And coming soon, we're going to continue on that investment where we're constantly just looking at the small usability enhancements to make. So you'll see that if I have a multi-day booking on the board, it'll be a lot easier to edit. I can just right click and I can make edits from there. I know this is very exciting for those I know Europe is very focused on week numbers. And so we've added week numbers as well is coming, as well as a full map view and the ability to move bookings in bulk. So you'll see these trickle out consistently. So just keep your eyes on the release notes. And the final bucket within the theme of the core product investments is about the technician experience, is about performing. So just because I know not everyone reads all the field service news, I'm going to call out like 1 or 2 items that we've released recently. We've added the ability to integrate calendars with field service and Exchange/Outlook and Teams. And so this has been an ask for quite a while, where if you want to use your Outlook or Teams calendar for all your appointments, some of them are field service, some of them not. This is something that is now available, and wanted to call that out for the group. As well as we've made a lot of enhancements to the mobile overall experience when it comes to performance. So just calling out these recent investments. So looking ahead, what are we focusing on within the technician area? We're focusing on 2 different buckets. We're focusing on UX and simplifying the overall user experience along with performance. So what we're doing with the UX is we're building a series of controls which will get technicians further and further away from kind of the forms over data interface. So I'm going to show you a few concrete examples of what we're going to be delivering over the next couple of months. One is just, how do I make it so technicians click less in the app? One of the ways we do that is by showing more information at once on any of the views. So on the left side, you can see the current view. And on the right side, you can see now we'll be able to add a lot more fields. We'll get rid of the icon, which wasn't really adding value. And this will be applicable to any time that you have a list view within the mobile app. The other one, and I'm sure everyone will smile at this, is the accidental tap through. So for example, we see on the left, anything that has a hyperlink, such as a priority. As a technician, I never need to edit the priority, but if I click on it, it might take me into that edit experience. So you'll have the ability to disable hyperlinks in the mobile app so that the click targets and the touch targets are a lot simpler, and you don't accidentally click on a hyperlink and go somewhere in the app that you didn't intend on, and you didn't intend on clicking. Lookups. On the left-hand side, we could see the current experience. It's the web view kind of shrunk down to mobile, and there's items on the bottom like new and change view and things that technicians don't necessarily need. So you'll see any lookup field will have a much more mobile-friendly lookup experience for technicians. And the last item is all about booking status. This is the most, our telemetry shows the field that's changed and used the most is the booking status. So we'll have a dedicated experience to click a big target that says scheduled. I can click it and edit my booking status with a nice intuitive dropdown. And I thought the last was the last, but this is the last one I'll talk through here, which is note-taking. So we're going to have again, a mobile-friendly way to just take notes that's critical for technicians. So I'll be able to just click a button really easily with a big touch target, such as the add note, title, description, and then the ability to add multiple images all at once, which will simplify the user experience greatly. And so with that, I'll just take a moment. I'm not going to drain this, but we'll also have a lot of investments that are coming in for faster and reliable sync time, better offline support. And we're also going to make sure to give a tool to makers of the app where it's very flexible in terms of what data you choose to sync offline. Sometimes we're going to try to help you catch it if you configure it and there's way more data than you need based on usage. We're going to give the makers of the app, our customers, tools to help guide them and say and give guidance as to what you should tweak in your offline profile to make it as performant as possible. And so with that, we move into the next category, which is all about evolving field service with co-pilots and agents. And so before we go into that, into the specific features, I just wanted to anchor a little bit in how we think about the investments within field service within AI. So there's really three categories. It's how do we change the experience so that the technicians are able to use Copilot as the primary UI. The second one is all about workflow automation. And the third one is really about how do we get the knowledge to the technicians so that they don't have to start spending all their time just searching for a document or searching for history. And that's really the third bucket of where we're investing in AI within field service. So I will skip through a couple of slides on what we've delivered because I'm looking at the clock and running a little low on time here. So some items that are coming shortly is basically doc Q&A within the mobile application. So this is super common for technicians where they just need to understand from all the manuals, how do I fix this, right? They deal with many different pieces of equipment. Not everyone's an expert in everything. And so the amount of time that they spend just trying to find manuals is really large number. So what we're able to do here is bringing in the document Q&A into the mobile experience itself so that if the technician says, show me how to access the turbine engine, it'll go back, it'll look at your documents, it'll pull the information, it'll surface it up, and then from there, the technician will have a link as well to open up that manual where it got that data from. And so this is something specifically for technicians that is really, really critical when they're in the field. And the other item is, and I'm sure some people saw the some announcements about some of these features coming to the web, but we're going to make it so that within the mobile application, you can actually surface up any of your custom agents that you might have built right within the mobile app itself. So of course, anything that we have out of the box that you want to use, great, but there's always scenarios that you're going to build might be part of the same agent, it might be a different one. And so we're going to make sure that those are really easy to access. So if you're building your own Copilot Studio agent, the technicians can stay in the same application and just be able to access them from the mobile app itself. Okay, and now I'm going to move into one it's early on in the process, but I want to call it out because we are looking for some customers to partner with together on this. And so one item that's been a challenging area for some time is the subcontractor scenarios, but really about subcontractors that do 1 or 2 jobs a month or a year, right? Those who are working kind of full time, they just happen to have a different like company that they technically get paid by. That's great. You use the mobile application, you're in good shape. But what we're trying to make it a lot easier for those subcontractors who might do a job a year to not have to download a mobile application, keep it really simple. And so we're working on an agent in early phase to help with this. So the concept is I send the agent the job. In this case, it's over email. I send the subcontractor, excuse me, they get an email with the job information. And then instead of them having to go through and install a whole mobile app, they just reply to the email. It can be text. They can attach pictures. They can just write it on paper and attach that if they want. And then from there, we'll take that on the back end and we'll automatically extract all that data from whatever format they sent, map it to the right fields, and then you can have someone that approves it. So if this is something that it's something that you would like to partner with on, please do reach out. We're looking for some key customers to help guide us and validate the idea and move it forward. So just wanted to call this out and in case it's something that resonates with anyone on the call. And the last item to focus on is updating work orders using Copilot. So we talked before about the idea of the 3 buckets of where we're thinking about AI. This is a great example of leveraging Copilot as your user experience. So we already have in market in preview a version of this, and we're going to continue to build on it. So the idea is that a technician, instead of clicking through all the fields, they just use natural language. They say, hey, I got to the job at a certain time. Here's what I did. We'll then take that, give a nice experience that lets them confirm everything, let them know if they missed out on any information, and then go ahead and get the sign off. So it's a whole different paradigm of how to interact with the application, just using free flow text or speak to it, and then we'll do the heavy lifting of mapping mapping all the information to the proper fields and get that sign off. And so this is something else that we are currently working on. And so with that, we go to our final bucket, which is our scheduling operations agent. And so for those who are unfamiliar, I'm going to play a quick video because the first version of this is already out in market today. So it's about a 60-second video, and then I'll talk about what's coming next. All right. So what we're really after here, because we have our automated scheduling today, but what we've learned over many years of implementing is that some customers have already gone through the effort of getting to a complete autonomous scheduling. They're in great shape. Most customers, they're doing it manually still today. And then bringing them along for the ride to get from manual dragging and dropping to automated, more than a technology challenge, it's actually a change management challenge. And so what we're doing by bringing this into the user interface through the agentic flow is we're setting it up that we can bring all our make it so that customers can get from manual to as automated as you choose to get a lot easier. So as you saw in the video, step one, dispatcher takes a look, they might manually book, but then they can ask the agent and say, can you help me reschedule this technician, something went awry. Another item we're looking at a little bit later is then we want to push alerts to the dispatcher and say, we actually think you should run the agent because we're seeing that there's conflict. We're seeing that there's double bookings, or maybe you assign someone a job that they weren't qualified to go do. And so the idea of bringing it deeper into the user experience is that we're going to be encouraging dispatchers to be able to use this technology, but keep full control over whether or not they want to accept the recommendations. And ultimately, it'll make everyone a lot more comfortable to leverage the agentic scheduling with a lot more comfort and with a more natural flow getting from manual to automated. And so what's coming next over the next couple months is now we're going to have the ability, you saw in the video, I can pick one technician, that's good, but we know that the real value comes when I'm trying to reassign multiples. So we're going to be enhancing the number of technicians that can be optimized with the agent, and then ultimately getting it to where you can trigger it to go autonomously from the UI as well. And so with that, I'll just close with a thank you. We have as you saw at the beginning, IDC's a great signal for us that we're moving up in the chart. The business is growing, and I thank all our customers and partners on the call. And with that, I will pass it back over.
Dan, that was great. Thank you so much. Thank you. You have a ton of questions there. I normally spend a little bit of time going through some of the questions, but I know we're a little bit behind on things. So if you have questions for Dan, feel free to add it to the chat, and Dan will get to them. But there's some really, really exciting updates, some things that I know people have been asking for a really long time. The mobile simplification, I think, is huge. More of the like co-pilot assisted completion of the work order, I think that's going to be huge as well. So things that people have been asking for a while. So I'm really, really excited about what's coming. Thank you, Dan. All right, so moving on, Angeliki, I believe you have our community speaker coming up next.
Yes, indeed. So I'd love to welcome Mike Hartley on the call. He is one of our fellow BizOps MVPs in the UK. And since I've known Mike, he's always been such a champion of accessibility within everything that we do. So really excited to see what is coming up today in his New Year revolution. Mike, off you go.
Thank you very much. Let's just see if this works. Hopefully. Is that coming up? Is that awkward? Cool. Awesome. This is a complete change pace from what we've just had. So I'm going to step through this, and it's actually a bit of a different one for me as well, because while I talk a lot about accessibility, this is slightly new one for me. So first of all, for those who don't know, yeah, I'm Mike. I've been around IT far too long. And yeah, I do all accessibility, mental health, inclusion, and all those wonderful joys, and nag people and work with events to try and make sure that our community events are accessible as well. So yeah, I've been around a little while. And what I want to look at is, I mean, obviously, I don't do New Year's resolutions because I break them within about 30 minutes of making them. So, but we've got AI. Everybody knows it. We're all probably sick to the high teeth of hearing the phrase AI, but it's a reality. It's part of our world now. And what does that mean for us with accessibility? And can it lead to a bit of a revolution in the way that we can deliver accessibility in Dynamics 365, in Power Platform, in our technology solutions, in all the areas that we can? When Copilot first came out, I tried it and it was thinking about it, but not quite there. Things have moved on rapidly, and we're getting to a much better place with it, and it's really exciting. I was having a play over Christmas, and I'm going to come on to that. So it's yeah, it's just fantastic. And I see Bobby got completely the reference I was going to with my AI generated Lego scene there. So yes, it was based on One Day More. First thing we need to do is understand what the AI challenge is with accessibility. And what I say to a lot of the people I work with, and certainly a lot of the people, the graduates I work with and everything else, is we really need to make sure that we're applying critical thinking to everything that we're doing. And we need to be applying understanding to everything that's coming out of it, because this audience, I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but it's I hope you'll forgive the background information, but we all know LLMs, they're based on human knowledge and sources. That's the reality. AI will only think within the constraints and interpretations of those sources. It will try and make things up, it'll interpret things, it'll collate it all, but at the end of the day, it's still working on sources that we've come from. When we look at those sources, though, the amount of those that contain conversation about accessibility is a tiny blip in the grand scheme of the library of the internet and technology. So we need to be very deterministic about the way we talk to AI, to talk to agents, to talk to Copilot, to talk to all the different models that we've got out there. So we need to learn to speak the right language. And people who know me will appreciate I'm rushing through because I can talk for hours. So doing 20 minutes is a challenge for me. So excuse me if I'm going too fast, but I do want to try and show you some stuff. prompt engineers are a thing. When that term first came out, I know quite a lot of people, myself included, who were kind of found it an entertaining term, let's say. It seemed a bit odd at first, but it's genuinely a thing. It truly is. If you don't prompt properly, you're going to get really naff results. You've got to be really clear in what you're asking of these things. You've got to set out clear parameters, define your outputs, and explain the constraints and everything else. And if you want accessibility, you need to ask for it. And if you do ask for it, it's adding one simple sentence to all your prompts. It's just one simple sentence, and it will deliver accessibility that, I will be honest, is 9 out of 10 times better than most developers will come out with when they try and implement accessibility. It's not perfect, but accessibility isn't perfect. It needs testing. We always have to mark our homework. So the key thing is that when we're building all this stuff, whatever we're building, we need to include accessibility. It's all about the language that we use and the way that we talk. So here's my example, and this is where I was having fun over the last couple of weeks. I'm not a coder. I will say that up front. I was many years ago when I first started out in IT. I was a coder. I did a lot of stuff, and that has remained in the back of my mind. I can read code, I cannot write it. And I'm in the process of launching something, which I'll come on to shortly, that I wanted some WordPress plugins, because that's the content management system I know. I thought, I need those. And people said, oh, you should try using AI. And I'm like, it's not going to do the job. It's not going to do the job. And I gave it a go. And I'm telling people I work with this as well when they're using this. We can use this to generate code that actually can do a pretty darn good job of what we need. We can generate JavaScript, we can generate PCF controls, embedded HTML resources, all those wonderful things that we like to stick into model-driven apps, Canvas apps, Dynamics. We can add all that extra functionality and all that joy. And if we want to make sure that we're developing accessible functionality, we can just simply ask it to comply with something called WCAG 2.2 requirements. WCAG is Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And basically, it is the standard for which most accessibility standards base themselves off. It was designed originally for websites. It's become part of rich applications, internet applications, and those standards have been adopted across everything. When you go into Microsoft 365 and you use Accessibility Checker in PowerPoint and it says your color contrast isn't right, it's using color contrast that matches WCAG settings. But we can just simply, in our prompt, very simply just say, and make sure the code and the output complies with WCAG 2.2. And I gave this a go. I asked it, I used Claude. I've tried it in using GitHub Copilot, using the Sonnet models. I've used Claude AI. I've also used a few of the other tools and tried out using different models. And I just said, right, create me a WordPress plugin that will allow me to create a collection of quotes in a new table in the main database with quote text and source. And then I want a widget that will display a random quote using either shortcode, the Gutenberg editor, or Elementor. And the widget should comply with WCAG 2.2. Colors should be tested for WCAG compliance. And then just because I'm a good boy and I like commented code and I want to make sure I understand it, make sure it's all fully commented. And here we go. Let me move over and share a screen. Let me make sure I get the right one, because you don't want to get all the random stuff that I've got. And can I just check that you can see that? People see my screen?
Yep, looks good.
Cool. So, because I've done a few responses, I asked it to summarize, give me a WordPress plugin to create 2 fields, quote text and quote source, and display random quotes on a widget. So I come into my WordPress and straight away I've got a quote randomizer plugin. It's wonderful. I can edit quotes, I can add new quotes. I've added a whole bunch of quotes that I've gathered to do with neurodiversity and disabilities and things like that. I can add new quotes quite easily in the plugin, and I've not edited this code at all. All I've done is told it to do what I want it to do. And then I come and stick it on a website. Now, this website is work in progress, so the website is astonishingly bad at the moment. But there's the plugin. It's created it for me. It's done the job. And if I use, it's not showing up very nicely on this. Doesn't like zooming, but using an accessibility checker tool extension in Edge, it is finding absolutely, and I know it's very difficult to actually see. Let me see if I can find it. No, it's not going to let me find it. Oh, there you go. It's not had any issues with the plugin. It has generated it. It is complying with accessibility standards. It has done the job perfectly that I asked it to. I have not coded any of that. It has created something. It's about the only thing on this web page that passes, but it passes all web content accessibility guideline standards. And it blew my mind when it did that. And we can do that with all of our PCF controls. We can do that with all of our JavaScript that we use to pop up messages on screen or error messages or warnings. We can, just by adding a simple statement of make it WCAG compliant, it will create what we need it to. It closed the tab. That's annoying. I would show you the template, but I can't find it at the moment. But the plugin itself, it does exactly what I asked it to. And Copilot, I appreciate you possibly won't be able to see this, but I asked Copilot very quickly to create me a CSS file. that is WCAG compliant for a basic website and to include all the information. And again, it has done exactly that. Now, this was one of the first tests I did with Copilot. And when I first asked Copilot to generate CSS, it was very iffy on some of the contrast ratios. The contrast that it reports and whether it passes or fails is a lot more reliable now. We can trust it with a greater degree of trust than we could even a year ago, even as recent as that. It will generate the stuff, and it gives us such a big head start on things. It really does. So come on. Oh, there we go. Too many windows open. So if I come back in here and jump along, because I don't want to be waffling along for too long. But that kind of leads me on to something that I'm launching, and I'm kind of taking this as a bit of a chance, A, to plug it, and B, to really give me a bit of a kick up the backside to make sure I do something. But this year, that website and the work that's being done is we're launching a new community that brings together people who do accessibility, brings together all those wonderful people who do podcasts, events, speaker events, and talk about accessibility, so that then people have got a central place that they can go to find who's blogging about accessibility, what articles are there out there, what videos are there out there, what podcasts are there out there, what are the latest resources we can find. It's not just for people who speak about accessibility or blog about it. It's designed as a resource for people like developers, architects, anybody that has to build something where accessibility is a requirement, which should be everything that we build. So it's there, or it will be there, as really an easy place to discover and find things. So I hope you'll join me on that journey and keep an eye on things as we go along. The podcast will be launching soon, and the website is work in progress at the moment, but it should be out there. Well, you can go to it now and laugh at how bad it is, but it is improving as I go. So and my final plea, because I don't want to go over time, I'm trying to be a really good boy. Please, just everything that you do with AI, whether it's vibe coding, whether it's building agents, chatbots, whatever, please just add accessibility. It's one simple sentence that you can add, and it will elevate things. It will give you such a good starting point and a good foundation to build on. You need to test it, you need to mark it, you need to check it out, but it gives you such a head start on these things, and it adds so much more functionality that quite often won't get put in. So please, just one simple sentence is all it takes, and it can elevate your prompts. And with that, I'll just say thank you. My links and different QR codes and everything else there. And if anybody's got any questions, please reach out to me. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to chat. And if anybody's interested in being part of 365 Ally, then please reach out again. I'd love to talk. And if anybody just wants to talk about accessibility, just shout and I'll be happy to talk. So thank you for having me.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mike. Accessibility is one of those things that to this day is often overlooked. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about it and emphasize the importance of it. It's a really good way of continuing to be inclusive. So thank you so much, Mike. And also thank you for ending on time. We actually have a few minutes left, which I'm really, really happy about. So I wanted to spend the last few minutes talking about a couple of things. Before I do, Mrs. D, did you have any closing messages that you might want to share with the community?
I'm just really excited to hear about this topic, and thank you so much for joining us, Mike. Especially the shout out about neurodiversity. I think we forget sometimes that accessibility is it's a much wider ranging topic than we realize. And I've learned so much from you throughout the year. So thank you again for raising that awareness and your new initiative.
Yeah, I second everything that Angeliki said. Great. So in the last few minutes we have here, we wanted to set the tone a little bit for the rest of the year. So we often use your feedback to determine the topics that we cover. We're going to spend time over the next several calls going through the kinds of topics and the kinds of content that you want to see. So feel free to spend a couple of minutes, either come off mute and let us know, or if you have anything in chat about any specific topics you might want to cover over the course of the year, and just let us know. And that'll help me know who to reach out to, what kinds of topics to craft, what kinds of presentations to give, what level you might want it at. Do you really want to go deep dive on stuff? Or are there certain introductions to new topics or new ideas that you might want to learn more about? Field service, for example, is something that was a direct request because it was one of those things that people didn't know quite as much about for the past few months. So it was really good to have Dan on and to remind everyone about all the cool things coming in field service. So anything else that you might want to learn more about, feel free to put it in chat or go ahead and tell us about it. Okay, so Dwayne, anything that you might want to close with before we adjourn?
Yeah, just mirror what Charles just said. Please feel free to reach out to us. You can even reach out to us on our LinkedIn channel. You know, you're all active out there. But as a reminder, this session in its entirety will be shared next week on both our YouTube and our LinkedIn channel. And each session will be shared out individually with their decks the following week as well. So if you missed anything, don't worry. You can capture it all. Watch the deck as you watch the presentation, and we'll have it out there for you. So again, you guys are the heart of the community. Please share what you want to know. Charles, Angeliki, and I, and the rest of the team, we appreciate you. We love you. And we're looking forward to an amazing 2026 with all of you.
Excellent. Thank you, Dwayne. And thank you again, Angeliki. And we will see you next time. Oh, well, we have an ERP call, but I'm going to be monitoring both of them. So if you do have ERP suggestions, put them here too. And I will make sure I apply them to the ERP call.
Andre, of course, asks questions way outside the scope because that's just what Andre does. Loves to derail the chat there with a great question. But yes, Andre.
Yes. Is this what he does? Is he someone I have to watch out for?
Oh, definitely would enjoy Andre on the ERP call. That he has a lot of fun in the chat.
Good. Well, I'll be on the ERP call as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more from Andre and everyone else.
Awesome. And don't forget, if you want ERP, that's next Wednesday. We'll be sharing out the link again if you need to add it to your calendar for this new fiscal year, this new year. So it'll be on the LinkedIn channel. You guys are awesome. We'll see you all, some of you next week probably.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Happy New Year.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.